Hey again YouTube, Nutjob with a machete back with a quick review for you. This is part of a new series of mine called Nutjob with Stuff. And what it is it's going to be a series about items that aren't necessarily tactical or knife or machete related, but that you could use in either everyday situations or survival situations or even just around the house. You know, handy things for you. So, first episode of Nutjob with Stuff is about this little beastie. When I'm out in the bush, I tend to run through batteries pretty quick, on the camera, on the iPod, anything like that. So of course I need some way to charge it. Now you can get large collapsible solar panels and all that stuff, but they're fairly expensive. So for about 40 bucks I picked up this thing. And what it is it's an AllPowers solar battery bank. It's a 12,000 mAh battery bank. It takes about 40 hours in direct sunlight to charge, or they give you two of these cables. This is about a 3.5 inch one, and then there's a slightly longer 4.5 inch one. And you can plug them in to a USB port, either on your laptop, or if you've got a wall port, or you can use an adapter, plug it into your car, or to your wall. Now what I liked about this thing is it actually gave me some fairly decent number of charges on the iPod. It gave me about 5.5 charges, full charges mind you, on the iPod, which is an iPod Gen 6, and it gives me about 4.5 charges on my smartphone, which is an Alcatel One Touch Idol 3. That's actually fairly decent considering that this thing is about $40. I purchased it on Amazon through AllPowers, and they're actually pretty decent in dealing with me. I asked them a few questions, what would be suitable, and they actually steered me towards this one. Now, a couple of features I noticed on it: the solar panel, if this gets cracked, it will still charge. That's what a few people have said. But it also has rubberized plastic outside. I've dropped this from about 3 feet up onto tarmac and then onto some hard packed ground, and there's actually no damage to it at all, which kind of impressed the hell out of me, because I'll admit I swore pretty bad. So this thing actually has held up pretty good. Now one of the things that I kind of liked about it, this is just random for camping, was it has an LED on it. It's not super bright or anything, but it's one of those added bonuses that was just like, hey, what the hell, why not? I've left that on overnight just to see how long it'll last, and it actually lasted until I woke up the next day, which was about 7 hours or so. I checked the charge after that, and it was down to about 25%. The charge is actually indicated on the side by those little lights. And as you can see, it is at about, call it about 80%. So the irony is, while telling you guys about the charge on the battery bank, the camera died. Yeah, you can't really plan for that. Anyways, if you wanted to check the charge on your bank, all you have to do is press this orange button and the indicator will light up. If you wanted to activate the flashlight, you press that twice. Turn it off, twice again. One of the things that I liked about this was you could charge multiple items. Now, charging the multiple items doesn't actually charge them faster or slower. I've tried and timed them. It keeps both of them charged at about the same rate, even if you switch the ports, which actually is kind of interesting because the ports are slightly different. Now, they have these rubberized little coverings, as you can see here, these and this. This is actually your input for when you charge, and these are your two USB outputs. I've plugged in two smartphones at the same time, and they both charged at about the same rate. They were the same smartphone, so I was able to do a side-by-side comparison. Same model of smartphone. And I noticed that they both charged to the same rate, they both charged to the same level, and of course the charge on this, the total remaining charge, decreased as if I charged one phone twice. Like I said, you get about 4.5 smartphone charges out of this, and about, say, 5.5 charges of like an iPod. If you needed to charge up something with a larger capacity, for instance, if I excuse me, if I needed to charge up the battery on this thing, one, I'd need a USB adapter to charge it up, but it would probably charge the battery on my Canon once for sure, probably close to twice. It really depends on the draw of the item that you're charging. Now, a couple of things of note for this. It's a battery, so it is going to be kind of heavy. It weighs in at almost exactly 10 ounces. It is fairly compact. I mean, it's actually slightly smaller this way, but thicker than my smartphone. So, you know, packing it is not really going to be a difficulty. It's charging up from the light behind you again. The one thing that I usually do is I'll wrap it up in like a bandana or something like that if I'm going to pack it in my bag. Then I have the bandana or the shemagh or whatever I'm wrapping it in, and this is protected inside. If I want to attach it to my pack, well, it does come with a couple of little lash holes, kind of like on your cell phone or, you know, your little portable camera. So you can fit something through there and you can hang it off of stuff, but there's no way to, like, say, directly mount a carabiner to it or anything along those lines. You could put a key ring, a small key ring through here and hang it that way, which is actually what we did when we were in camp. That way it was almost always in the sunlight. It will actually charge off reflected light too. I had a mylar blanket sitting around and I hadn't actually paid attention. The sun was hitting it and hitting this and charging it up. So it'll charge off, you know, not direct sunlight, but still has to be relatively bright. A couple of little things to note is the little rubber covers on here. So like I said, these little guys here, they're to keep moisture out. Now this unit is not waterproof. It's not watertight. If you get it immersed in water, the water will enter through here. I have not tested it because, of course, I bought this and it's my money. But that's one thing that I would be concerned about, you know, if this was out in the weather, because the hang point is right here. If you're hanging it, the USB ports are up. Even with these covers on, moisture could get in there if it starts to drizzle or rain. The other thing is, these are pretty flimsy. It's probably not going to take too much for them to get ripped off. Now, if that happens, you know, I haven't really devised a solution. Maybe find a way to reattach them or tape them in place, something along those lines. But that is a concern. I don't know how long they're going to last. They've lasted 4 months, but, you know, when they fall off, what do I do? You know, just one concern. Beyond all that, the instructions are relatively straightforward when you get them. The one thing to note is that it's not actually really well explained on how to activate that flashlight, so click, 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 click. That's all you really need to know. So far it's had about, I'd say about 30 full charges. It says that this thing is supposed to be good for about 500 charge cycles, so obviously I'm not even anywhere near close to, you know, wearing it out, and that, I figure, for an item that's about $40 is pretty damn good. So, I mean, should you pick up one of these? Well, if you're looking for something that you can use as a battery bank that you can also charge while you're in the field and while you're at home, and you're actually going to use it, yeah, this is definitely worth the 40 bucks. It has a few limitations. You know, it's not really fast charging in the sun, like I said, but it's actually pretty good overall, and I'm actually fairly impressed with it. And in fact, I might be picking up another one of these because they have a newer model that I saw coming down the pipeline that I actually should be able to plug the battery right off the camera almost directly into it. So yeah, that'll actually be pretty cool. I don't know the model of that one yet. I basically heard it through word of mouth from someone, so don't quote me on that. But yeah, well, that's about it, guys. Thanks so much for watching the first episode of Nutjob with Stuff. I'm Nutjob with a Machete. If you like videos like this, please feel free to click like, feel free to subscribe for more videos like this in the future, and as always, feel free to share this video as much as you want. Until next time, guys, I'm Nutjob with a Machete. Stay charged. Nah, stay sharp.